My reign as a Jeopardy champion lasted almost 35 minutes.
This was coming, like the waiting room of the vasectomist, and I know that's not what he's called. I know there's like a fancy word, but...
If you leave, I have nothing left to live for.
I'm convinced that the universe has conspired to keep me humble. Now, I say this because my greatest moment as an athlete wasn't enough just to highlight a great athletic achievement. It also, in the background, had to highlight a great athletic weakness. So the year was 2005. I was a student at the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill. Yeah! And I was also a member of UNC's track and field and cross-country programs. And it was during my junior year that a buddy of mine named JB, who also happened to be on the JV basketball team, go figure, came up to me and he said, Felix, you would not believe this. There is a giant picture of you in the Dean Dome. So first of all, I'm like, where is there a giant picture of me anywhere? I mean, I love myself and all, but that's just weird. Second of all, what is it doing in the Dean Dome? Now, for those of you who don't know, the Dean Dome is a 22,000-seat arena which houses UNC's men's basketball program. I mean, this is a historic college basketball venue. And if that's not enough, this is the 9th largest basketball-specific arena in the world. Okay? So in other words, I was bugging out. Like, what are you talking about, right? So I'm like, okay, bro, you have to show me this. He says, okay, cool, we'll do it. So we set a time and a date. We show up. We're standing outside the Dean Dome. He leads me into the coach's offices. So this is where Coach Roy Williams and his assistants have their spaces. And he proceeds to walk me down the hallway. Now, along the walls are these black and white photos of Tar Heel basketball legends, okay? I'm talking about James Worthy, Vince Carter, Anton Jameson, and the greatest of all time, Michael Jordan, okay? And as we proceed to walk, there's a set of double doors. And as we walked through the double doors, it was as though we were being ushered into the modern era of Tar Heel athletes. And along this portion of the hallway were these color photos of 20 Tar Heel student athletes. And it was along that hallway, on the left, a giant color photo of yours truly. Now, listen, I gotta tell you, this was a beautiful picture. And it's not just because the subject is so dashingly handsome, okay, let me tell you. It was a beautiful picture. It's a picture of me running cross country, okay? And it's like raining, and my face is focused, my fists are clenched, there's not a competitor in sight. I mean, it's a beautiful photo. And it was like this photo that just was sort of memorializing the fact that I, as a walk-on, had made the team and was able to compete for Carolina. Yeah! I mean, I was humbled. And for those of you who cheered and for those of you who didn't, I'll be free to sign autographs at the end of this if you want one. There's enough of me to go around. But seriously, I was just dumbfounded, like, what? But as I said at the outset, this picture didn't just capture a great athletic achievement. It also highlighted in the background athletic weakness. You know how when I described the picture, I talked about the rain and I talked about the faces focused and the fists are clenched. I mentioned that little piece about there was not a competitor in sight. So let's just say that's not because I was winning. I'm telling you, I was bad at cross country. I mean, like really bad. In fact, most of my teammates had already finished. Most of the other competitors had already finished. It was bad. I mean, I was bad. So here I am looking at this picture of myself and I'm like, I know the truth, like I sucked. I mean, I guess it was like the coaches thought like, okay, he's East African, he's born in Kenya, he must be good. Ladies and gentlemen, that is false, okay? That is false. But there it was. Now, just before we get carried away, just want to let it be known that I still whoop all y'all in a race now, okay? All y'all. And if you want to test it, we can do it afterwards. But just one thing. I'm kind of nursing some Achilles tendonitis in the left Achilles. So if you happen to beat me, just keep that in mind, okay? But here it was, this picture. Now, I will say this. The first couple tours I gave of this picture, and hell yes, I gave tours, and you would too if your picture was in the Dean Dome. Come on. So the first couple tours, I neglected to mention that aspect of me sucking in cross country. But since then, I've decided to just embrace it because it's true. And I want to tell the whole truth and nothing but. I'll conclude by telling you what happened to the photo. And not surprisingly, it is yet again an object lesson in the universe's attempt to keep me humble. I asked for the photo because I was like, this is awesome. I'd love to get a copy. But they couldn't give it to me because it would have been an NCAA violation. And so I was like, yeah, whatever, that's fine. And so I gave up hope. I thought, okay, I'll never get this photo. Several years later, I was working at UNC. And I would park my car at a friend's place who then was on the UNC track team. And one afternoon, I was walking back to my car. And as I walked up to the car, leaning up against it, lo and behold, my picture. And I was like, yes, I finally got it. So I pick it up, I put it in the backseat of my car, I'm driving home, whistling some song or whatever. I get home, like, finally. So I later called that friend whose house my car was parked at. I said, yo, Callie, like, how did you get this photo? I asked, they didn't give it to me. Like, what did you do? She said, well, you would never believe it. She said, I was leaving practice one day, and as I was walking out, I passed by the dumpster. And there was a giant photo of you. And so I said, I know him, I gotta give it to him. So they threw out my photo. Man, I guess they got tired of looking at this right here, but y'all ain't. So, needless to say, it was a rather inglorious end to a rather glorious photo. But rest assured, it is now safely in the possession of my family. And it's for this reason that I'm convinced the universe has conspired to keep me humble. And while I once fought this, I've since decided to joyfully embrace it. Thank you.